Philip to Evelyn, 22 October 1945. Dearest darling, I'll bet I walked 6 miles today. Twice I walked to and from the chapel where we set up the processing line today. That's more than 4 miles. Then this evening I hiked to and from the theater. That's 2 more miles. So if I come home with too much poundage on me, you won't be able to say that it was for lack of exercise. And this is only the beginning. I'll be following the same routine and walking those same 6 miles from now on. Since I have no alternative, I hope I'll be rewarded for the drudgery by the loss of at least 10 pounds. The picture I saw was Over 21 with Irene Dunn, Alexander Knox, Charles Coburn, and others. I didn't care for it too much. The reasons are too numerous to mention. In particular, I didn't like Alex Knox. The guy has no personality, no charm, and despite the big build-up he got for Woodrow Wilson, I don't think he can act. Irene Dunn, however, is a gal of another color, if you'll allow me to mutilate a cliche. She must be how old now? 40? Certainly almost that. Yet she is still fresh and charming and possessed of a slim, curvaceous figure that almost any gal might envy. Luckily, she was almost the whole show, and she made it bearable solely by the sheer charm of her personality. The mail is apparently held up again. I haven't had a letter in 4 days. I'm hoping to get a few tomorrow. I'm reading Razor's Edge in fits and snatches whenever I get a couple of free minutes at mess, etc. I don't quite know what to make of it yet. The plot, if there is one, is developed very slowly. I'm beginning to wonder just what Mom is trying to prove. That's the way I feel about it now. But that in itself makes for an element of suspense. Besides, I never read anything of his before, and I learn a little something from each new author I read, so I'm being educated even if I'm not entertained. The urge to write grows stronger every day. One of these days I'm going to bust loose. I can feel it. And once I start, I'll never stop. I feel that too. Which reminds me that I didn't comment on the information that Mike was returned by this week. Well, sweet, you know that I expected nothing else, so what can I say? Guess I could say I told you so, but I hate people who say I told you so I won't say it. Personally, I'm perfectly satisfied with my first effort. It may not be well written or sufficiently interesting, or perhaps it's lacking in certain essentials necessary to a short story, or it may have all those faults. But I'm content merely because I was able to put an idea down on paper that people can understand. I suspect that the greatest fault of both Mike and Etusa interlude is that they are so typical that they are commonplace, and therefore uninteresting. It struck me only today that they both have that quality in common. Did you notice that, honey? Wonder why I'm moved to write stories that must have had 1,000 bases in fact. It also occurred to me that had Mike actually been published, we would, in all likelihood, have been deluged with letters from gals all over the country wanting to know how in hell I got their story, etc., etc. Bet you never thought of that. Think it over, Chippy, and tell me if I have grounds for thinking that or not. I think I told you that I had a couple of stories in my head. One in particular begs to be written, and when I get around to it, honey, I promise you it won't be typical. I might even venture to say it's not like anything you ever read before. I've been building up to a writing mood these past few weeks. I think the next time I get an opportunity, which means a few hours of free time and an atmosphere of peace and quiet in a place where I won't be interrupted. Don't know when I'll attain this combination of requisites, but when I do, you can bet your life I'll knock out this next story. I haven't thought about its title till now. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that it will be a story in the accepted sense. I do know that it must be written in the first person, and I've been thinking that it is more fitting as a monologue. You know, the type of thing you hear on the radio. The more I consider it, the more I'm convinced it would be more effective in that form. Yes, I think I'll do it that way. It's almost time for lights out, sweet. Hope I haven't bored you. I love you very much, my Evie. Here's a kiss for you and one for the pumpkin. My love to all. Devotedly, your Phil. P.S. This time next month,